Don't know if that thing's alive or dead, but it looks pretty cool. From the top of the South Point parking garage, I got the first edition of many of some poker nicknames. Mostly me and a friend, some me and my own have come up with. And we have about 100 from Atlantic City, about 10 from Maryland, another 10 on my own from Maryland, another 10 from WinStar on my own, and from when I used to live in Vegas. These are the only ones I don't have written down, but I got about 30, if I could remember them all, from Vegas back in like 2017. So the first group is some geography nicknames. Basically, if we think they were from a certain city or country, we just named them after that. The first one from Atlantic City is Jamaica. Just this guy with braids, and he wore sandals a lot, and he had an accent. I mean, he had to be somewhere from the Caribbean. We were pretty sure he was from Jamaica, so we just called him Jamaica. These are all from AC. Israel. His actual name was Joe. We didn't call him Israel when he was around. We did it once by accident, but he had his headphones on. He didn't hear us. We were actually kind of worried about what he thought if we were going to call him Israel to his face. But to each other, when he wasn't nearby, we would call him Israel. India, where we think he was from India. He didn't go by his first name anyway. I think he went by his last name most of the time. But we would just call him India. There was a woman from Ukraine that we know for sure she was from there. We called her Ukraine. I tried to mess with her. After I left AC, I somehow was able to look up the day and location of her citizenship ceremony in upstate New York. And I told my friend who was still in AC to somehow, bring that up casually. Like, he thinks he was in whatever city it was, like Utica that day, and he happened to walk by the ceremony and see her. Mexico, for some reason, was the only controversial one. My friend didn't want to call him Mexico, even though we're calling everyone else by the name of a country we think they're from. Oklahoma, we don't think he was from there, but he loved talking about WinStar in Thackerville, Oklahoma. So no one's ever going to say Thackerville. You're going to say, like, in Oklahoma, and just by default mean WinStar, or actually say WinStar. He talked about it non-stop. So after a while, we just started calling him Oklahoma. Although when I was in Oklahoma in summer 2019 for 26 days straight, and then in Oklahoma last year for like 48 days straight, didn't see him once. Dublin. So most of them are countries. That one's a city. He must have mentioned at some point he was from Dublin, or we overheard, because that was weird that we would get specific and not just say Ireland. Russia, as far as I know, still plays also. I heard, so she would play in AC. That's when we first saw her. Then coming out of quarantine, I saw her in Baltimore. And I heard from the floor that her boyfriend just like cheats constantly. He gets kicked out of poker rooms and even kicked off of table games a lot. I never saw her do anything that was, close to cheating, but whatever. As far as I know, she was still playing a lot. Pittsburgh was just some guy who wore a lot of Steelers clothes. There were actually two guys like that. I don't remember the nickname for the other because you can't double up on nicknames. So the first guy got Pittsburgh, and I don't remember what we started calling the second guy, maybe Steelers. Pittsburgh had so people exaggerate things a lot. They like, retelling stories that get more and more interesting. There was a time where this guy that we called Hood, because he always wore a sweatshirt with his hood up, there was a high hand period where Hood hit a royal flush and they carried over, and there was not much time left. There was like well under a minute. So if Hood could just kind of play this hand slowly, wait for the time period to end, have it carry over so the next period is worth double, and then instantly show his royal flush, and he'll get paid double the money instead of ending the hand quickly in the time period we were in and only getting one period's worth of money. So he didn't play it correctly. He ended the hand quickly, and I think it was $250 instead of $500 he got. Well, Pittsburgh kept telling this story all day. I wasn't there, but my friend kept relaying this to me. Like the first time Pittsburgh tells the story, he says, with 10 seconds left, he shows the royal. He only had to wait 10 more seconds to get paid double. Then the next time he tells the story, with 5 seconds left, he shows his hand, and he doesn't get into the next time period. Then he tells it a third time, oh, with 3 seconds left. He showed his hand, he only had to wait 3 more seconds. So, he kept exaggerating. You can't get a lot closer than 3, so I don't know how many more times he could tell the story. 2 seconds, then 1 second, and then he can't tell the story any more times because he keeps changing how many seconds were left at the end. There were a bunch of guys from Greece. I think they came over on like 6-month tourist visas. They had a limited amount of time they could be here, and there was a group of them. For some reason, one got the nickname Greece, the others got other nicknames not related to geography. But my favorite was probably Macau. A lot of these guys we saw at Borgata and not so much at Harrah's. We were playing in Harrah's, my friend and I, and there was this guy, he must have like just turned 21. He looked pretty young. So it wasn't much of a controversy. It was like a premature burn and turn. It was something minor, but you know, some dealer mistake. So, you know, we get it fixed, then the hand plays on, and when the hand's over, people are talking about the mistake. And this young guy says, oh yeah, that happened to me in blank. And we thought he was going to say like Vegas, you know, like how many places could he have possibly played being like 21 years old. But he says, just so casually, he says, oh yeah, that happened to me in Macau. So we weren't expecting that. And of course, after that, we started calling him Macau. Too bad we only saw him that one night, because that was a really good nickname that we didn't get a chance to use that often, because we didn't see him before that, and we didn't see him again. But those were all of our geography nicknames in Atlantic City. Those were only like 10. I wasn't keeping track, but I got like about 150 more total in Atlantic City, Maryland, Windstar, and Vegas.